for, or some common understanding they'll share with you.
Was it easier for you to take photographs of and speak to the male servicemen as opposed to the female servicemen?
I found very little difference, honestly. I mean, there was obviously, I've had the privilege of being married for quite a few years now, so I've gotten used to, being around that. But there's very little difference between the female service members and the male service members. It was more culturally talking to the Afghan women that was very taboo as opposed to that.
Oh, really?
Our servicemen and women were very open.
Okay, and the tough question, I hope you don't mind me asking, do the photographs capture the images of any of the soldiers who later on were killed?
There are images of that, yes, and then there's images of the hero ramp service where the process by which our fallen soldiers are brought home are also contained in the book, and that was probably the hardest section of the book to work on and write. It required quite a lot of walking away from the book at that time to handle that section.
Were you in harm's way at all during the whole time?
In the sense of the question, the answer you're looking for is yes. We were out in hostile environments outside the wire. We did go through some firefights there, but in all reality, I was surrounded by the best men and women that our country has to offer, and was protected at all times by a minimum of 23 men and women that their job in part that day was to make sure that all went well for me. So we did see some pretty harrowing moments, but I had the great comfort in my being to know that I was surrounded by some of the best people that would take care of me at their own great risk.
Why is this your passion?
I've been, I came from a military family. Many of my grandparents served, and my father served in a civilian capacity with the military. But my wife, her family's all military, so it was a passion that I had from a child. But when I attempted to join the military myself, they discovered a medical condition that precluded me from serving. So this passion of showing what our guys go through and to break down the walls of communication between people who have never gone and people who have, open a flow of communication between them was really my goal and my passion.
And the book, in addition to the photos, does have text, and it says it has diagrams. So I'm guessing this is an opportunity for anybody who wants to know pretty much anything about the Afghanistan that we've been referring to in the news anyway. Were you able to get the cultural side of Afghanistan, the actual everyday living of the people who live there?
Absolutely, yeah. Getting to be outside the wire, to sit in on key leader engagements and be able to engage and talk with the Afghans directly was a great privilege. And the way that we've written the book is, it's not a kid's book. It's not Daddy Goes to War, but it's also not a textbook. It's not something that's very heavy to read. It's a balance in between to where you can understand what you're looking at when you look at a soldier on TV, or when you look at a soldier in real life. Now you interact with them, you'll understand more about the gear they carry, what how they move from one place to another. Their whole environment is kind of the reason why we wrote the book.
Robert, thank you so much for what you've done, because it helps us understand what we're doing as a country. And the book looks awesome. We don't have a copy of it yet, but we were looking at it online, and of course we have our prep material for this interview. It's called Afghanistan on the Bounce, and Robert L. Cunningham is the author. Robert, give us some information so our listeners can look it up.
If you just go to AfghanistanBook.com, you can go on there, and that'll give you a good overview of it. And also, any purchased books through Afghanistan on the Bounce are limited number, hand-signed, and we're donating a large section of our proceeds to charities that work with the family of our soldiers, work with the families of our soldiers that didn't come home. And then there's a charity we're working with that actually helps with the Afghan people with education for Afghans.
Okay. I apologize to your publicist. We went a little bit long. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
No worries. Take care.
We'll take a break and be right back.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
For illnesses and minor injuries, visit Family Care Specialists Urgent Care offices with 2 convenient locations. Our North Ocala office is at 1111 Northeast 25th Avenue, and our Bellevue office is at 4850 Southeast 110th Street, right next to Walgreens. The medical team at Urgent Care can also handle well child and well adult exams, school and work physicals, immunizations, laboratory services, EKGs, and x-rays. Most insurances are accepted. Walk-ins are welcome. Family Care Specialist Urgent Care for illnesses and minor injuries. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a toilet was flushing. The plumbing was out. The stockings were dirty, no water to clean. We were in a big mess with no washing machine. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of showers danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap, I searched for my tools to try and fix the mishap. When up in the attic there arose such a clatter. The pipes had burst. I see what's the matter. Away to the phone I flew like a flash to call Mike Scott Plumbing. They'll be here in a dash. He arrived in his van and got the job done, for he knew down the road he had more to come. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Because accidents don't work around your schedule, but we do, with no extra fees for nights, weekends, or holidays. From all of us at Mike Scott Plumbing, happy holidays. They've served our country. They've kept us free. And they need your help.
We're sitting in Veterans Park. You can't sit here not realizing that you're surrounded by heroes. There are a lot of heroes in our community. A lot of heroes, unfortunately, are not in good financial shape. They're hurting both physically and financially. We step in and help directly. Our role is to reach out to them. We're there to help the veteran. We do counseling, we do outreach. Sometimes it's just coming into the office and sitting down and saying, "Hey, I've got a problem," and you're talking to another veteran who understands that problem.
Everybody who works for the Vets Helping Vets are awesome, and they are so kind to everybody. They're like my second family. They really are.
They have been there during the holidays. I have gotten unexpected visits, assistance.
Vets Helping Vets of Marion County needs your help. Call today, 352-433-2320, and pledge your support to Vets Helping Vets of Marion County.
It really has been a blessing.
All right, thank you, Dan. We are going to now talk about something that you ladies really are very much considering very important, Rob. It's your look, your face,
Okay.
the lines on your face, right?
Yep.
Dr. Stephen H. Diane is on the phone. He's a board-certified facial plastic surgeon and board-certified in reconstructive surgery. So whether this is maybe something cosmetic that's just a little touch, or maybe something serious. Maybe you had an accident or something you were born with. He'll be able to answer the questions about those circumstances. There's a survey he wants to talk about also, the new national survey whose results reveal that more than half of the women surveyed in this country, in the United States, between the ages of 18 and 65, feel they currently have facial lines and the new non-invasive treatment options that he wants to talk about to lessen the appearance of facial lines and wrinkles. And by the way, I think some men say, you know what, I'm going to pay attention to this one, even though we pretend it's a ladies' issue, right?
Yeah,
good morning, doctor. Thank you for being with us today.
Good morning, Larry. It's good to be here.
And where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from cold Chicago.
Cold Chicago. All right. So am I right? Are men going to secretly be listening to this?
Yes, and it's funny because at first you've been talking about how women are interested, but yes, we see more and more men because there's many things that we can do to help treat men as well, especially the men who think they look angry or mean because of certain lines and wrinkles around their face.
Oh, wow. Well, don't we want to look angry and mean? So what do you do what is different in your science and in your medicine than, let's say, 10 or 20 years ago? What do we know now that we didn't know then?
Well, that's a great question because the most common thing people come in for today are for the non-surgical treatments. They're really interested in that. As much as I love doing surgery because I'm a plastic surgeon, the most common thing to do is non-surgical. And some of the reasons why is because it doesn't take a lot of time and effort to get it done. There's minimal downtime, and most people can get back to the regular schedule very quickly. So those are all very attractive options. But also, the concept of a subtle look is so important. You don't want anybody to know you had this done. And today we can use some of these treatments to subtly improve the appearance without screaming, "I've had a procedure done," and that's really exciting.
Oh, wow. I knew a lady years ago, and this will kind of reveal my age a little bit. I'll just tell you, I'm almost 60. But I remember she was the attendant at a gasoline station. And back in those days, we didn't pump our own gas. The attendant did all the gas. So long story short, she was in the sun all the time. She was not that old. She was maybe 30. And she had it seemed like more wrinkles than normal. It's what it seemed like to me. And I always kind of made this diagnosis myself, and I have no medical background at all, but it was the sun that did it. And was I right, do you think?
Very likely you are right, because we have plenty of evidence now to show that the sun does accelerate the aging processes of the face, and people do get more wrinkles and folds. In fact, we have photographs of a woman, in particular one I can think of, who's a truck driver, and the left side of her face is so aged, and the right side is not.
Oh, wow.
Sun exposure on the left side of her face. And some of these damaging sun rays get through the glass, and they get through the clouds, and they occur in the winter. So wearing sunscreen every single day is probably the single most important thing you can do to maintaining a youthful look.
Oh, wow. And is there something you can do to reverse that for her or for anybody with that circumstance?
Well, what we can do to kind of minimize the lines and wrinkles of the face is we can use some of these non-surgical treatments. And in particular, areas of the face where we can use an FDA-approved product include the glabellar area, or the 11s between the eyebrows. Their Botox Cosmetic has been FDA-approved since 2002. But recently, back in September of this year, it got FDA-approved to use around the crow's feet lines, or the tiny fine lines around the eyes. And that's kind of exciting to have a new product, the only product now FDA approved to treat that area. Is it
injectable? What do you do? How do you apply it?
Yes, so Botox is injectable, and there's very minimal discomfort. Most patients don't seem to request any anesthetic. It takes just a few seconds to do it, or a few minutes to do it. Most people walk out the door, and perhaps a bruise occurs, but for the most part, it doesn't seem to disrupt lifestyles. People go back to their normal lifestyle without anyone knowing they had done it. In about 3 days, you start to see the effects, and it lasts about 3 months.
Is there ever a time when a woman should stop these kind of treatments because it just elasticizes their skin so much, I assume?
No, I don't think that the reasons to stop it would be because it's going to have negative adverse effects on the skin. The only time to stop is if you just don't enjoy it, if it's not giving you what you want out of it, which is to feel better about yourself, in my opinion. But it doesn't seem to have those type of negative effects if you do it too long. In fact, you can stop it and your wrinkles and lines will come back.
So what exactly happens? Why do some people get the wrinkles and others don't? Or is it hereditary? Is it because like the example I gave, they're just the environment? What is the reason?
Well, probably genetics plays the greatest part in causing us to look older than our age, or to even look our age. And that's something you can't do a whole bunch about, but things such as lifestyle choices also can affect the wrinkles, lines, and folds. Things like smoking or sun exposure, as we mentioned. Also, the way you eat and exercise, all of these may affect the lines and wrinkles around your face.
Yeah.
And I think that if you do continuous expressions, if you're constantly making a squinting or angry face, that perhaps you can stimulate or cause these lines and folds to be longer lasting.
Yeah, I'm no doctor, but I can look at somebody, I believe, and tell if they're a smoker. There's something about the surface of their skin, especially if they're a woman, especially with no facial hair, if what I mean. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, even with facial hair, sometimes a guy who smokes, you can actually, if he's got gray hair, you can see like a yellow tinge to his hair. Not just his mustache, but even his head hair. Mm-hmm. There's something that gets into the hair.
Yeah, you can see these people walking across the room. Now, I'm very sensitive to it. If they walk into my office, I'll say, stop smoking. Like, how do you know? Because their face has like this gray ashen color to
Yes.
typical of a smoker.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Okay, so you are on the air partially to talk about a survey, and they feel they currently have facial lines that they don't want them, but is the just a broad brushstroke kind of an answer are most people, ladies and men, I guess, able to have this corrected?
Well, I think the importance of the survey is that it reinforces what we already kind of know, is that people are very concerned about their lines, wrinkles, and folds. And yes, there's things that we can do today to help treat them from, for instance, the Botox, as I mentioned. Also, we can put fillers into the face. And by putting fillers into the face, you can fill in hollows and deep crevices that occur with the aging. And recently we had FDA approval of a new product called Voluma, which we're very excited about because that also fills in the deep folds of the skin, especially in the cheek area, one area where we start to age.
Is there a thing that when the woman goes in for treatments, sometimes a person has an allergic reaction to some medications? Is that medication tested elsewhere before you put it in the area that they want to have taken care of?
That's a fantastic question. And sometimes we do skin tests to make sure someone's not allergic to it. But the hypersensitivity or allergic reaction rates with these products are so incredibly low that the FDA didn't require it in the studies, and we haven't had her do it when our treatments come in, when patients come in. So skin test is not required for these two products. Now, there are other cosmetic products in which we do have to do skin tests, but not for these.
And do you recommend getting a good night's sleep after they have this procedure done?
Most of my patients go back to the normal lifestyle. Now, if they're going to do a filler treatment, I tell them to take the day off, don't go work out or exercise. I also refrain them from taking things like aspirin or non-steroidals such as Advil or ibuprofen, because those things can make you more likely to bruise, in my opinion. So fish oil is vitamin E high levels. So we have them stop those things. But most people go right back to their normal lifestyles without much of a difficulty at all. And they, in my opinion, they feel better about themselves.
The season right now, the gift-giving season, the Christmas season, combined with the fact that we actually broadcast from the mall, we're seeing a lot of people buying gifts. And there are some ladies right now, if I walk through this mall, they would be holding a little white cup with some cream in it, and they will be telling me that if I use that cream, it'll make me look younger, right?
That's right. They want to rub your
and I
hands.
always have to say, no, I don't. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. What do you think about the creams that are being? And I'm not trying to get you to pick on any one particular product, but I mean, do creams actually do anything at all?
Well, you know, it's a difficult question to answer because many of these creams are not pharmaceutical agents, but cosmeceutical agents, which means while they're FDA approved, they're not FDA approved to prove efficacy or to prove that they actually work. So that's for many of these topical products that are used. Many times they moisturize their skin, and that works wonderful to make the skin look better, certainly initially, but as there are long-term benefits of these products, it's really hard to say unless we do rigorous studies, and we just don't do rigorous studies for most of these products.
Okay, well, that sounds like enough information so that we probably have some listeners who want to know more. And with the confines of a short radio interview, I don't think we'll be able to cover every answer. Is there a website they can go to or something they can read to find out more?
Well, yes, they can go to BotoxCosmetic.com, and there they can get many of their answers, many of their questions answered. BotoxCosmetic.com.
Doctor, thank you so much for being on the air with us. Stay warm wherever you are. And come down to Florida once in a while. Or you're in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a direct route. Doesn't I-75 go straight to
That's
Chicago?
That's right, it does. No stops. Just come on
Or better
down.
yet, take an airplane. It's quicker. Doctor, thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a little break and be right back.
Today in Florida Ag News on the Southeast AgNet, will in an effort to improve soil health and for his peace of mind, Florida farmer Kirk Brock switched to no-till for his row crop operation. Brock, who farms 1,000 acres of corn, soybeans, and peanuts near Monticello, uses multiple species of cover crops.
To me, traditional, conventional tillage farming systems is more of a hope and a prayer that it rains in this area. And the conservation tillage with high residue cover crops allows us not to worry about so much the rainfall events. We know they're going to come, and when they do come, if they're really intense, we can hold that water on the hillsides and get it to percolate into our soil profiles.
Brock is one of many farmers adhering to principles promoted by the Natural Resources Conservation Service's new Soil Health Initiative.
Improving our soil health in relation to our nutrient management system, we feel like we're cycling the nutrients and we're not losing any nutrients to leaching. In this area, we get about 60 inches of rainfall per year, so we're constantly worried about leaching of nutrients.
But says the new system utilizing the cover crops captures those nutrients to recycle them. Brock adds that, at least in his experience, once you convert to a conservation tillage system and you grow a lot of cover crops, you will not be interested in going back to conventional farming. To learn more about soil health, visit your local USDA Service Center or visit them online at fl.nrcs.usda.gov.
The Environmental Quality Quality Incentives Program, or EQIP, is a continuous sign-up program allowing landowners or operators to apply for financial and technical assistance for many types of conservation practices. And USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service in Florida has made it easy to get more details. Just log on to www.fl.nrcs.usda.gov. You'll find state resource concerns along with links to more detailed information on the overall EQIP program. Or you can simply stop by your local USDA NRCS office.
Julie McPeak with Southeast AgNet.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
On the next Voice of Ocala, we'll have the fallout from the County Commissioners meeting. Was it put up for a vote, Project Home Run, or was it not? Plus, it's Tributator Tuesday with Tom, your chance to win great gifts and prizes from merchants from all around Ocala. And it's Around the Water Cooler, where we talk the hot topics in sports with Tom James, myself, Buddy Martin, and JJ LaSalva. All that on the next Voice of Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, streaming live at WOCA.com. The Source.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. Within the next couple of months, Marion County teachers will receive their pay raise, which is money that was promised by Governor Rick Scott nearly 8 months ago. Chris Altobello, president of the Marion Education Association, said that all of the teachers who are returning should expect to see a minimum of $2,000 added to their salary. The state of Florida gave the Marion County School District about $6.7 million to be used for teacher pay raises. Altobello said after about 5 months of negotiations, the MEA and the Marion County School District have reached a tentative agreement on both a contract and teacher pay raises. Some educators may receive a $2,000 pay raise, while others could see as much as $3,200. This week, Marion County teachers will review the new contract and their pay raises. Then they will vote in early January. Once the MEA ratifies the contract, the school district will have to approve it. Tree cutters, restoration companies, and community outreach organizations began working around the clock in Palm Coast to clean up and restore the community that was hit hard by a tornado on Saturday. The buzz of chainsaws reverberated throughout the neighborhoods hardest hit by the storm, in particular the area of Indian Trails and Pine Lakes, which was cluttered with downed trees and house debris. The storm, confirmed as an EF1 tornado, blew out windows, knocked down trees, and ripped away roof shingles. It removed the entire roof from one home owned by John Coberty along Bannerwood Lane. Coberly said he went airborne before landing on the tile floor. He curled up into the fetal position as insulation, pieces of plywood, and other debris crashed onto him. He said the insulation that fell on him absorbed some of the impact from the heavier objects, but he was still suffering from lower back soreness yesterday. Coberly said, "I trust in the Lord," who after more than 24 hours of fear and frustration finally got a hold of someone from his insurance company. The American Red Cross is assisting by providing food and shelter. Yesterday, Palm Coast Mayor John Netz declared the city was in a state of local emergency. Such a declaration means Palm Coast may apply for state and federal aid. Additionally, it also means the city can expedite permitting debris removal as well as implement a system of garbage and debris removal that increases the number of pickups. Starting July 1st, prisoners will have the option of kosher meals thanks to a federal judge who ordered the Florida Department of Corrections to offer kosher meals to all prisoners with a sincere religious basis for keeping kosher. The Little Notice ruling, signed December 5th, grants the U.S. Department of Justice a preliminary injunction forcing the state agency to offer